Hello, hi everyone. This is Kruthika, a Yakeen 2.0 batch student. So, as we all know that Samapti ma'am did a great Samapti Express for all of us, so we have to revise it. That's why I made a revision plan for myself, that is a Kruthika Express. Through this, I gonna revise all the topics in a one short videos. The structural organization in animals. This chapter is grouped into three categories. One is the animal tissue, frog and a cockroach. Now we're going to discuss about the animal tissue. What is animal tissue? A group of similar cells having the same function, same structure and same origin, and they perform for the similar function, and there is a intercellular matrix or the substances between the intercellular spaces. Now, a sperm will combine with the ovum to form a zygote. Zygote undergo mitosis to form a embryo. Due to the movement of the embryonic cells, three germ layers will be formed: ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. Due to these germ layers, all the tissues, all the organ and all the organ system will be found in our body. Based on a cell structure and cell function, the tissues are classified into four types: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, neural tissue. Any organ, stomach, lungs, liver, kidney or heart is made up of basically four types of a tissue in a specific pattern and proportion. Cells will combine to form a tissue. Tissues will combine to form an organ. Now, two or more organs interact with each other physically and chemically for performing a similar function to form an organ system. Now, epithelial tissue. The cells of the epithelial tissues are compactly packed and closely aggregated to each other. There is a very little intercellular spaces and there is very little intercellular matrix. Epithelial tissue always rests upon the basement membrane. This basement membrane is acellular because it is not made up of any type of a cells, but it is made up of a mucopolysaccharides, glycoproteins, and then a collagen fibers, a protein fibers. And then epithelial tissue is avascular because there is no blood supply. Then how it will get the oxygen and nutrients? Beneath every epithelial tissue, there is a connective tissue which has a abundant blood supply. That's why the oxygen and nutrients will diffuse into the epithelial tissue through this. Now, this epithelial tissue is classified into two types. One is a simple epithelium, another one is a compound epithelium. Simple epithelium, single layer of cells. Compound epithelium, two or more layer of cells. Simple epithelium is classified into three types: squamous, cuboidal, columnar. This is on the basis of a cell structure and a shape of the cell. Now, simple squamous epithelium tissue. The squamous epithelium tissue consists of cells which are flattened and there is a nucleus at the center, round and flat. The important role of the simple squamous epithelium tissue is in what is a diffusion and a filtration. That's why it is present in air sacs of the lungs, that means the alveoli, and then blood capillaries. In the blood capillaries is mainly consist of only a simple squamous epithelium. That's why it is known as a endothelium in blood capillaries. Then it is present in a Bowman's capsule, then glomerulus, even in a artery and veins. Then simple cuboidal epithelium, it consists of a cube-like cells, nucleus at the center and round. It plays a very important role in the secretion and absorption. That's why it is present in the tubular parts of nephron. It is present in the DCT, and the brush-bordered form is present in a PCT. Then it is also present in a small glands of the ducts of a small glands, and also it is present in a bronchioles in a ciliated form. Then we discussed about a simple columnar epithelial tissue. In that, the long, slender, elongated cells are present, the nucleus at the base, and it plays a very important role in secretion and absorption. It is present in the stomach, liver and small intestine. A brush-bordered form is present in a small intestine. Ciliated form is present in a fallopian tube. Some cuboidal and columnar epithelial cells are modified and plays a very important role in a secretion that are called as a glandular epithelium. These glands are the organs which secrete or synthesis something or the other. These glands are also classified into two types. One is a unicellular, consists of a single cell, multicellular, many cell. Unicellular example, goblet cell, which is present in our GI tract in our stomach, which secrete a mucus, and the rest of the goblet cell will consider in the multicellular glands. Then these glands are also classified on the basis of the pouring of their secretion. It is exocrine gland, endocrine gland, heterocrine gland. Exocrine gland contains the ducts which pours their secretion through the ducts. So it secretes the oil, sebum, sweat, tear, milk, and also mucus. And the glands, for example, sweat gland, sebaceous gland, mammary gland, whereas what is that? Even a goblet cell is also a exocrine gland. Endocrine gland is a ductless gland. It secretes its secretion is also known as a hormones. It secretes its secretion through a yellow fluid that surrounding the gland, and it directly diffuses into a blood. There is no need of ducts for the endocrine gland. Then heterocrine gland. In the heterocrine gland, the both exocrine part and endocrine part both are present. Example, pancreas, whereas testes and then ovary. Pancreas, the acini cell secretes the pancreatic juice, which is the exocrine part. Islets of Langerhans secretes the insulin and glucagon, which is the endocrine part. And then testes secretes the androgen like testosterone, it is the endocrine part, whereas it secretes sperms through a ducts, it is the exocrine part. Ovary secretes a ovum, that is exocrine, and then estrogen and progesterone hormone, that is the endocrine part. Then compound epithelium. Compound epithelium contains the two or more layer of cells. That's why is as a very limited role in a secretion and absorption, but it plays very important role in our protection as it does in our skin. So now the compound epithelium is classified into our two types. One is a transitional, which is stretchable, and non-transitional, that is stratified, that is non-flexible. Transitional is a stretchable, that's why it is present in the stretchable areas like urinary bladder and ureter. Whereas a stratified is present in the dry surface of the skin, moist surface of the buccal cavity, pharynx, and then as ducts of the salivary gland and pancreatic gland, and cornea of the eyes. Now we're gonna discuss about the cell junctions. Cell junctions are the proteins which make the two cells structurally and functionally linked together. So now the epithelial tissue consists of three types of a cell junction. They are namely tight junction, gap junction, othering junction. Tight junction stop the leakage through the tissue. Gap junction helps in the communication, cytoplasmic communication between the two cells by rapid transfer of a small molecules, even a big molecules, and some ions. Then that is a othering junction, which helps in the cementing between the two cells. This is about the cell junction, but connective tissue does not contain any type of a cell junction, but epithelial tissue has a three type of a cell junction. Now we're going to discuss about the connective tissue. Connective tissue, the cells are loosely aggregated, they are far apart, that is the intercellular space is more, and then the extracellular matrix is present. In every connective tissue, there is a two components. One is a cells and extracellular matrix. Extracellular matrix consists of two components. One will be the protein fibers. Another will be the ground substance, which is called as matrix, or it is made up of a mucopolysaccharides. Now, this connective tissue is widely and abundantly spread in the complex organism. It links, supports, and transports the oxygen, nutrients from one part of the body to the other. Then this connective tissue is classified into three types: loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, fluid connective tissue. Loose connective tissue, the examples of loose connective tissues are areolar connective tissue, adipose connective tissue. Dense connective tissue is further classified into two types: dense regular, dense irregular. Then In the dense regular, we discuss about the ligaments and tendons. In dense irregular, we discuss about the skin. Then specialized connective tissue as of a two types. One is a fluid connective tissue, skeletal connective tissue. Fluid, example, blood and lymph. Skeletal, example, bone and cartilage. Now we're gonna discuss about the loose connective tissue where cells and fibers are loosely aggregated in the extracellular matrix. There is a large space between them. That's why it is known as a loose connective tissue. Example, areolar connective tissue. Areolar connective tissue. Any connective tissue contains the cells and extracellular matrix. It has the cells in NCERT. They mentioned the four cells commonly, that is fibroblast, mast cell, plasma cell, macrophage. Fibroblast is the largest cell and abundantly present in the areolar connective tissue, which helps in the secretion of the protein fibers and also a ground substance, that is a mucopolysaccharide. So finally we can conclude that fibroblast helps in the secretion of the extracellular matrix. Now next will be the mast cell. Mast cell will be active during the allergies because it secretes three chemicals, mainly heparin, histamine, serotonin. Histamine, vasodilator. Serotonin, vasoconstrictor. Heparin, anticoagulant. Okay. Macrophage. It is mainly it is phagocytosis in nature. It engulfs the pathogen and digests it through by using a lytic enzymes. That's all. Then plasma cell is an activated beta lymphocyte where it is activated beta lymphocytes where it plays a very important role during the immunity in the immunity. So when the pathogen or antigen is attack our body, it secretes the proteins called antibodies to kill that antigen. This is information about the cells of the areolar connective tissue. Now we're going to discuss about the extracellular matrix, which contains the two components. One is the protein fibers, another one will be the ground substance, or it is made up of mucopolysaccharides. Protein fibers is of two types. One is a white and yellow fibrous. White fibrous is mainly named as a collagen fibers. Yellow fibers are elastin fibers. Collagen fibers are in a bundle and it is not branched. Okay, it is inelastic, it is not flexible. But elastin fibers are more flexible and they are yellow in color and they are single but branched. Okay, they are more elastic and they are very straight. Then areolar connective tissue, where it will present? It is present beneath our skin, which connects the skin and the muscle. Okay, then this areolar connective tissue gives the supportive framework to the epithelium, because beneath the every epithelium there is a connective tissue which provide a supportive framework for that. Okay, so then we're gonna discuss about the adipose tissue, where fat storing area is present in these cells, that is adipocytes. Okay, so adipocytes are the cells of adipose tissue where the excess carbohydrates we ingest in our body are not absorbed, so those are converted into our fats and stored in the adipocytes. That's why in adipocytes the nucleus is at the peripheral region. Then we completed a loose connective tissue. In that, areolar is over and adipose is also completed. Now we're going to discuss about the dense connective tissue, where cells and fibers are tightly packed. There is very little space is present between the cells and the fibers. They are tightly, compactly aggregated in the extracellular matrix. Now, dense connective tissue is classified into two types: dense regular and dense irregular. What is dense regular? The cells and cell fibers are arranged in an orderly fashion. And then the examples of dense regular connective tissues are tendons and ligaments. Tendons links the bones to muscles. TMB. Okay, so now tendons contains the white fibers usually. Then ligaments will connect the bone to bone, and it contains mainly a yellow fiber, that is elastin, and also a little amount of a collagen fibers too. Then dense irregular connective tissue, where the cells and fibers are arranged in a non systematically, and then The best example is the dense irregular connective tissue present in the skin. Okay, so where it acts as a protective unit. Now we're going to discuss about the specialized connective tissue, right? Yes, specialized connective tissue is of a two types. One is a skeletal, another one is a fluid. Now we discuss about the skeletal connective tissue, where the two example cartilage and the bone. Cartilage, the cells of the cartilage is known as a chondrocytes. Okay, which secretes the extracellular matrix, that is it contains the cell fibers, protein fibers, and also a ground substance that is known as a chondroin sulfate. Okay, ground substance is made up of a chondroin sulfate in a cartilage. The chondrocytes are present in a cavity called as a lacunae. Lacunae consists of a 1 to 4 chondrocytes. Okay, it consists of a many chondrocytes, not 1 to 4 chondrocytes. And then the extracellular matrix contains the fibers and a chondroin sulfate. And the extracellular matrix makes the cartilage into a solid, pliable, and resist to the compression. Cartilage present in the embryo's endoskeleton, then tip of the nose, outer ear joints, and then what the C-shaped hyaline cartilage that present in our trachea, and then intervertebral disc and pubic symphysis and all others. Now we discuss about the bones. Bone cells are known as osteocytes, which present in a cavity called lacunae. In one lacunae, only one osteocyte is present. That osteocyte produces the extracellular matrix. Extracellular matrix consists of collagen fibers and then ground substance. But here, this extracellular matrix is of two types. One is inorganic components will be present, and as well as organic components also. Inorganic components is of how many percent? 65%. Okay, so it consists mainly of a calcium salts, that is a calcium carbonate, calcium phosphate, etc. And then organic components that consist about 35%, which are mainly formed by the osteocytes, that is the collagen fibers, protein fibers. Protein, that's why it is the organic components. That's over. Yes, this extracellular matrix is found like a ring-like structures where osteocytes is present in a lacunae, and then there is a aversion canal in the center of the structure of the bone. That aversion canal is only present in a mammalian bone, which provide a blood to the bones. Then we discuss about the fluid connective tissue, which is of a two types. One is a blood and a lymph. But main important point that given in a textbook is the fluid connective tissue like blood not contain any protein fibers. This is the very important line that we should remember. Then fluid connective tissue also consists of cells like that we known as a formed elements. Okay, it is of a 45%. Okay, which are those? RBC erythrocytes, WBC leukocytes, platelets, thrombocytes, which are the fragments of the megakaryocytes. Okay, then we discuss about the plasma, which is of 55%, and it consists of water, ions, nutrients, enzymes, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so the fluid connective tissue is over. Lymph will be discussed in the body fluids and circulation. In this chapter, blood only discussed. Then what? Muscular connective tissue. As we know that muscular tissue. So muscular tissue which consists of muscles mainly. So our body consists of 639 muscles. Over the 40 to 50% of our body weight is due to the muscle. Okay, so now muscles consist of muscle cells called as muscle fibers. In the muscle fibers, there is parallelly arranged cylindrical structures are present that are known as myofibrils or myofilaments. Okay, so this muscular tissue and neural tissue we're gonna discuss in the next part. Okay.